Eriq, I have to tell you, I am so excited about today. You and I met many, many years ago, decades ago. And I feel like as an entertainment journalist, I've been waiting for this moment to sit down and talk to you about your career. Um, on call, first of all, I want to start there. Rich Ting is actually a very good friend of mine, and Rich Cirillo, I grew up with in New
Okay.
York. Uh,
Okay.
so I'm
Too
loving,
much there.
yeah, I am loving the show. Let's start with how you got on board with this show. Let's start with that.
Well, I've done a lot of work for the Wolf Camp, as we call it, the Dick Wolf world, and so they just, we have a relationship now. They just literally called up. It was, very informal, and it was like, hey, we have this cool pilot. Like you to take a look at reading it and let us know if you think, you want to direct it. I read it and called back a few hours and was like, yeah, I'm in, because it was just the writing was just so cool. The concept was really cool. And I thought the possibilities of what the evolution could be, which is exactly what happened. Because even though you read it and you just see this stuff, it's not until you really start seeing the balance of the body cam, the steady cam, all of these dash cams, all of this, it's such a visual show. And it was written and it jumped off the page, but even that's even though you're impressed with how much it jumps off the page, you're even more impressed when you're on set and you're creating and you're seeing it even live. So it was an easy decision to do, and I just loved it.
How did your vision for it evolve? Like, did you have an idea when you first read the script of how you wanted it to look, or was it something that kind of changed shape on what?
Both, both. That's yeah. I mean, you as a director, it is your responsibility, and it is why they hire you to bring a vision with you. The cool thing and what I've learned, I've been directing now for 30 years now. And I used to show up to set so prepared and so, things were set. And that served me very well. And it kept things moving. I got great results. I think obviously the more you do something, the more comfortable you get with it, the more you trust yourself. And so this was a show that you had to show up and there had to be room left for spontaneous creativity for because it was see this was a show that wasn't necessarily emulating anything. There's no direct show that you can go, oh, it's just like this. It was creating its own. It feels part documentary. It feels this. It feels that. It's voyeuristic. And at the same time, see, a lot of times those shows lose to me some of the great acting. Like some shows might have these cool, and that's the other thing. We had to find a balance so that we didn't feel like we were a gimmick. We didn't want this show to feel gimmicky. So that was the part that evolved on set when you start going, okay, a little less of this, a little more of this, instead of it being this way, let's make it this way. But you don't know that until you're there. And fortunately, I had enough people around me that I completely trusted. My DP, Adam Silver, was fantastic and so much responsible for the look of the show. Tim and Elliot, had complete trust in me and gave me all the support I needed. And we found it. We found the balance of what we wanted the show to be, and we were and that and but that carried on even through editing. So we knew we had some good stuff that we were shooting. We knew we had good stuff on the day on set, but it was then taking all that good stuff and molding it into this cool show. Like I said, even then we were saying, okay, we need a little less here, we need a little more here, we need more dash cam, we need less this, we need this. So even in editing, we were still, and then after maybe two or three cuts, it was like, that's it. So it's sort of like it was sort of like seasoning the stew. where you keep adding things, throwing more potatoes, throwing some parsley, throwing some tomatoes, some carrots, some, throwing and throwing some hot sauce. And it was just like, no, not up to this. And then all of a sudden you just taste it and you go, that's it. That's what the show was like.
So I feel like you probably get asked this all the time, but do you have a favorite episode or a favorite moment behind the camera while you were bringing this to life that you just went, wow, this is powerful.
Well, I mean, I think there's several. I don't know that I would necessarily say there's a favorite. I think the first of all, the pilot, and I called up Monica and asked her to, play the cop Delgado who gets killed early on. And so I think, starting the pilot off with someone that is recognizable, that people are comfortable with, and 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 essentially killing them, right away. Um, Told me that it was going to be a certain kind of show. So I'm always very proud of the pilot. I'm proud of the whole show. Brenna Malloy was my directing partner on this, and so I directed 4 episodes. She directed 4 episodes. She directed me sometimes, just as an actor, and she stood up and so yeah, so I mean, I some of my favorite moments don't necessarily occur in my episode. Some of them, I've I thought and this isn't necessarily a favorite moment, but it is one of the most powerful moments of, you know, having to put a dog down and being a dog person and knowing, how much people love their animals and having the complexities of that, the complexities of how do you do this and still have the audience on your side and understand that these are the challenges of being a cop. These are some of the challenges, and you have to be honest to that, and and we were bold, and so having that type of thing. Brenna did some really cool drone stuff where we were raiding a hotel. She did some cool drone stuff. Just did some cool action sequences. I think story wise. I love the last episode, which Brenna directed, um, where what you thought was the relationship between Harmon and I, who she thought I was and who I thought she was, it's different. And there's a shift and there's a twist and and there's a revelation of like, oh, that's not what was going on, that's not what it was. So any type of storytelling like that will always be my favorite. So yeah, so that's just a few examples.
You do, and everybody else as well, obviously does a really good job at just being so authentic in the show. You name these moments that were really powerful. How did you immerse yourself in this world throughout this process to tell an authentic story?
Well, what was mandatory, um, and everyone wanted to do it, and a lot of actually people did it multiple times. um, Everyone that was all the cast, the writers, we did ride-alongs with cops. And I remember I had done it before in my career, but this one was definitely the most intense. And I did a 10-hour shift. And in that 10 hours, we saw so much. And I was with this badass female cop and it was really cool. And so just sitting in that car next to him, and this was a real ride. This was you were side by side. I mean, I've done drive ride-alongs where I've been in the back. There've been two cops in the front. No, this was just she and I. So it was like a ride along as though we're partners. And of course, I'm not a cop, but my point was it was just that I wasn't buffered. It wasn't, there was, I was there. And so watching her, so that was something that we all did. And like I said, some of the people did, I did multiple times. And it was very, very helpful. And it created a sense of I always, as an artist, you want to respect the subject that you're depicting. Whether, we learned that in ER. We wanted to really respect how difficult it was and challenging and rewarding it was to be a doctor. So some of the best compliments are when professionals come up to you and say, you did a good job. When cops come up to you, I went to dinner last night and it was out by Malibu. So there are all these roadblocks and the military is out there because this was at PCH. And so you're getting into Malibu and Palisades. So they still have it blocked off. So military and cop presence. And so I get in the restaurants like right on this side, but I have to go around. The military tells me to go around and come back through. And I'm driving now. I'm in the cop section. And as I'm pulling up and rolling my window down to let them know I'm going to the restaurant, the cop just goes, "Man, you did a great job on call. You did a great job." And it was this cool moment. But after I got finished laughing as I was driving, I just turned back to him and I said, "I hope we represented you guys well." And he said, "You did, you did." So that's the goal, and that's the goal of the writers. That's the goal of the actors. That was certainly the goal of directing. That was the goal of the DP. That was the goal of the wardrobe department. That was the goal of like everything comes together to honor. Like when I say like even something like makeup, one of my proudest moments in affiliation with the show was bringing Lori on and bringing Lori on in such a different type of role. And she showed up and she had the beautiful highlights in her hair and Lori is just a beautiful woman. And when we told her our vision, she came the next day, highlights were gone, no makeup. And of course, there is basic makeup, but even the makeup department knew, let's not, let's make this person look real. So everyone was committed to wardrobe. Everyone was committed to making it authentic feeling. And that's something I'm really proud of.
You do. You have a terrific team in front of the camera, behind the camera. Um, I love the Belisario connection because I know you did an episode of Quantum Leap.
Mhm.
I think it was 92 or something like that.
Yeah.
So did you have that conversation with Troyan at all in there?
Yeah, yeah, and her mother came to set. I'm sorry, her mother came to an event that we had a screening, and I, obviously I knew her mother way before her. So yes, no, we definitely. Once I made the connection, I told her, I said, by the way, well, she goes, I know my mother told me, and I was like, oh, okay, and then her mother did come to a screening. Yeah.
You do, going back to the authenticity of it all. You've just done such a phenomenal job throughout your career. I feel like people must come up to you all the time and you probably get somebody throwing out a quote from Coming to America or somebody asking you medical advice. And now
Yeah, we get different references uh and then this and also every once in a while you get my directorial debut was a basketball film called Rebound for HBO, and people still come up, and that was in 96, and people come up and, oh man, I love that. People hit you on social media still. So yeah, you want to be known for and remembered for and appreciated for your body of work. And particularly when you are blessed to have some longevity in this business and to have been able to do multiple things. And so yeah, it's great when not just me, but Lori was telling us a story about she was somewhere and how people were saying, "Oh, you're from On Call. You kill it. You're killing it on Call." You get you get excited even for people around you, like whether it's you directly recently, and someone just nodded and said, "I love what you're doing on call," and you're like, "Thank you." And then, like I said, last week having a cop say, "I love what you're doing, what you did with on call." That's yeah, those are great bonus moments. Yeah. Yeah.
you're absolutely, your entire body of work is incredible. And with this, I just feel like I love seeing you both aspects, in front of the camera, behind the camera. I also want to talk about your writing because
Mhm.
you are a phenomenal author. Let's just quickly jump into that a little bit, and just your love for it. Yeah.
Huge passion. I don't always like writing, but I love writing. You know what I mean? Because you're creating life, you're creating these characters, you're creating this storyline. You're creating it. Comes Everything comes from your mind. I don't write with anyone. I don't. Sometimes people get ghostwriters. I don't do it. Every word is my word, and so it's very rewarding. Uh, and I've been doing it for a while now, and in a pretty good groove. And so the first three books of the series is, the Laws of Depravity series, and so that's going on now. I'm creating another franchise, and I'm going to finish up the Laws with five books. So just as I'm finishing up the fifth book, and that's the thing about it, you know, when you first start, you go, what makes you think you're smart enough to be a novelist? So and that's just, you can substitute the word novelist for many things, for so many people. What makes you think you're good enough to be a journalist? What makes you think you're good enough to be an artist? What makes you think you're good enough to be a basketball? What makes and we do this self-doubt, we do this thing. And so I just jumped in and committed myself. And my first attempt was didn't go over well, but I hung in there, and now I feel like I'm in a really, really good groove. And the goal is always to create a franchise. And I think now in this day and age, it's really important to own IP. And so to create IP, it just gives you other options because on Call is the type of show that I'm most proud of in my career. And achieving the things that we achieved there. Um, but those are rare. Those aren't the norm. So how many of those do you get? So I'm like, well, start creating your own IP, start creating your own thing so that you can work with people. You know what works what best. If you can get the right group of people together, and I'm pretty good at that, and you can tell these types of stories, then there's a whole nother an additional career for me to and I love telling stories. I love people reading. I love getting caught up in a good book. I love the concept of me getting people caught up in a good book. I love that. You know what I mean? And so yeah, so it's a major, major passion of mine. And like I said, I'm really excited about I've written I'm down to the last of the fifth book in the series. And now I'm writing currently the next franchise, which who knows how many books will be there. So now I get to say, and not in arrogance, but I get to say only because there was so much doubt in the beginning, I get to simply say, whatever you think of yourself, you're officially a novelist. No matter what you can, no, no, you are a novelist. And so I think when we want to inspire people, we have to get them to embrace the title, to say, yes, I'm a journalist. Yes, and then I'm good at this. I'm a table maker. I'm a wine maker. I'm a computer analyst. Whatever it is. I think we let our own, and particularly the passion projects, the passion careers, I should say. Sometimes people can do jobs that they're just showing up and doing. I'm talking about jobs where you dreamed of being. You go, wow. When I was a kid, I used to grab the mic and I used to pretend I was interviewing people, whatever. You know what I mean? And now I'm doing that. You know what I mean? I used to, stay up and, stay outside and, practice my dribbling and shoot. And now I'm in the NBA. Or now, you know what I mean? You have to see yourself as that before you can be that. And I think it's unhealthy if you keep apologizing for being somewhere if you've worked hard for it. I think the people that it just has some things just happen to and lands in their lap, I think they're always afraid of being exposed that they're not really that great at it. But I think if you work hard and you study, then you earn it. You earn, and I've finally, it took some time, but I earned the right to call myself a novelist. So every great review, every, you win an award, all of that stuff just becomes validation. And however you use it, you use it. But it's embracing it, and that's the thing. That's one I love. So yeah, so I love adding that to not just my resume, but that's now such a major part of my identity as an artist. I love saying novelist. I love that. So
You truly are a phenomenal artist. And I feel like there isn't anything you can't do. You have such love and passion and authenticity behind your work. And I
thank,
love, you're just such an inspiration.
uh,
You're just-
thank you, thank
So
you.
lastly, do you have, I mean, speaking of dreams, do you have any great dreams for On Call? Your vision of how you would like to, I don't know, I guess mold this project.
Well, I think it's this. I think as long as you keep it challenging, and I think our challenge now is I think we came out and achieved a lot. I think a lot of people really enjoy the show, and it was #1 in 40 countries, and it seems to affect people. So that's first and foremost. So I think keeping it honest. I think for the second season, or once it's official and we get a pickup, you want to be able to meet the challenge. What's the next challenge? So there's always the thing, the sophomore slump. Was it a fluke? People throw all of their passion in the first wave, and then the second wave is not so great. So I have faith in Tim and Elliot that they will deliver as they did in the past, that they will deliver strong, interesting, innovative scripts. It's my responsibility as a director and producer to um, make it live up to its potential, to surprise them. Because the way that I work, I don't just like to take what a writer gives me and give them a story back. I like to surprise them. I like to give them something back that they didn't. They were like, wow, oh, this is okay. That's great. Like I didn't necessarily see this, you know what I mean? So I'm adding to the great work that they do. And then the editor adds to the work that I do. So it is it's a business and an art form of collaboration and growth. So it's not so much that I have my vision and dream for the show. It would be that we're honest and we're even more original than in the second season, and in any additional seasons than we were even in the first. Like we're just growing, and we're like, oh, you thought that season was great? Wait till you see this season, and wait till you see some of the stuff that we go through now. And that's how I'm confident that Tim and Elliot approach it, and that's how everyone that comes back, the actors are going to want to be, I would push the actors. I would, so no one gets to rest on their laurels. It's about how do you, because, sometimes you see things, you're like, oh, that was really good. And then you go, oh man, the second season, they lost it. The third season, they're just phoning it in, or now it's implausible. Now these people are superheroes now. You're like, no, keep it real. Keep it real. So that would be the vision that I would have.
Eric, I'm so happy we got to catch up today. It's been such a pleasure. I'm so happy,
Thank you.
so
Thank
happy.
you. Thank you. Thank you for this interview. This was
Oh,
so
such a
I really
joy.
appreciate you.
You made my day. I'm inspired. Now I'm like, I'm gonna take this. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. It was a pleasure.